Liverpool's been a hotspot for student property investors for years, with strong demand, great yields and a thriving uni scene. But with all the new high-rise blocks going up, is there still room for the classic student HMO? In this video, I'm touring with a seasoned HMO investor in Liverpool's student market. We'll be covering everything involved with investing in student HMOs here, from sourcing and refurbs to rent levels and demand. Today we're walking through a full back to brick refurb, and in part 2 we'll tour the finished high-spec results. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it.
Right, so we're in Kensington with Tom from Wavertree Student Properties, Wavertree Student Homes, and we're just in one of his HMO conversions as we speak. So what was it before?
So this one was a 5-bed, 2-bath professional HMO. Before.
Okay, previously?
Yeah,
wow, okay.
It was. Yeah, typically I usually buy 3-4 beds and rip them out.
Standard terrace.
Yeah, this was a 5-bed, but the conversion was really poor.
Right.
So we had to go back to brick again.
Hence the situation we're in now. So lowered floors?
Yeah, complete rip out, lowering the floors. Lucky the extension was already built before I bought it.
Yeah, previously did that, yeah. Nice. And then we briefly had a conversation before about dormers. So we're in a conservation area?
Yeah. So Kensington Fields is conservation. So they stopped approving dormers maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So to get around that, we just lower the floors a bit further.
Nice.
And we can still get 2 bedrooms in the top and a bathroom.
Wow, okay. Yeah. And you were saying you typically do all en suite, but this one's going to be...
Yeah, I think this one's a bit narrower.
Yeah.
All of them are a bit different.
Yeah.
So usually it's 6-bed, 6-bath, but this is going to be 6-bed, 3-bath.
3-bath, okay. And then do you manage the lettings in-house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lettings manager called Jack.
Nice.
And he runs that side of things.
So do you think you're going to notice a difference from price points with three bathrooms?
Yes, but I think usually we drop it by £5 a week.
Oh, right.
It's not major.
20 quid a month, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the valuation might drop 10 grand.
Right.
By not having the extra 3 bathrooms.
Yeah. Was it from an investor you knew, or was it just on?
So this was no, it was through a letting. Who was it through? It was through like off market.
Right. Okay.
What are their names? You might know them. Asset brokers.
Asset brokers? No, I don't think I've heard of them.
No, so they sell HMOs off market.
Right.
So
nice.
This one and the one that's done up that we're going to see, 90 Wellington, that was the same vendor who owned both.
Oh, nice.
Both were really poorly built.
Yeah, poorly maintained. And was that just old landlord exiting, wanting to realise
I think so, but he built these in 2018.
Right.
So not that long ago.
Yeah. But was it, well, as far as I'm aware, 2018, was that pre, maybe some of the more serious fire rigs and stuff like that, or?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the same broker, I went around 8 houses this morning, and there's a portfolio going which I put an offer in today.
Brilliant.
So
nice.
Yeah, same again on those. Hopefully.
And how do you typically finance this stuff then? Do you use investor finance, bridge?
Yeah, investor and bridge. So this is bridged at 75% on the purchase.
Okay.
And then
development finance?
Yeah, so 50% development finance.
Okay. And the rest cash?
50s,
yeah. Currently on the ground floor, so the lads have already, the floor joists have gone in.
Yeah, floor joists in. So this one doesn't have steels because the width, I think, is below 5 metres or 5.5. Yeah. That's when we should use steels. And then the layout will be, so this will be bedroom 1 here. Yeah. Then we'll have our bathroom here.
Oh, in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, just down here. So this will be the corridor. Stairs will go up here. And then we'll sort of come round into the lounge. So your sofa will be there looking at the TV.
Yeah.
Then here will be your dining chairs.
Okay. Yeah.
And then this will come down. So steel will come across here.
Okay. Yeah, just a small steel.
Yeah. And then the kitchen will be sort of in this area.
So this will all be like nice open plan.
Yeah, this will be open plan. To be fair, this is unusual. Usually the steels go in before the screed.
Yeah.
This time round, not sure why.
Yeah.
But the steels will go in, this will come out, and then that'll get infilled. Yeah. And then we'll put a new roof with a skylight in there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So nice and bright.
Yeah, it's a flat roof.
And I think we're moving the back door to here.
Okay. Yeah.
From there, otherwise it'll just be in the way of the kitchen.
The kitchen, yeah. Nice. So that's one at the front, and then sort of nice kitchen diner, shared space. Is that important? Because so typically we look around quite a lot of professional HMOs. There's less of the communal area. Is that important to the student side of stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think in the student HMOs they like partying, they like drinking, so they
getting
like
all the mates around.
Yeah, and we put I put like music system in the ceiling.
Oh, right, okay.
With like a Bluetooth.
Yeah, device so they can...
Yeah, so the neighbours don't like that.
Yeah. But, maybe, don't they? Yeah. How have you found, because anyone who comes to Liverpool sort of fairly regularly, sees lots of like new buildings getting thrown up, particularly down Albert Dock in the city centre. A lot of that tends to be student accommodation. How have you found there's been an impact in your HMO rooms? No? No,
not at all. I live in one of those new builds. I live in the Lexington.
Oh, nice, okay.
It's lovely. But no, not at all. I think the purpose-built stuff, you're looking at maybe 200 a week.
Right.
And you get, your concierge, gym and all that stuff.
Right, they're the proper posh boys going to uni.
That's the thing, I think it's for foreign students.
Right, yeah. You're coming from Hong Kong, you may be studying medicine,
Yeah, your typical local student, they want to live outside, outside of halls, outside of anyone basically telling them what to do.
Yeah.
You've only got neighbours to annoy here, whereas if they've got security, concierge and all that.
Micromanaged, being like back when mum and dad.
This is like freedom. Yeah. First time away from living
proper uni, fresh meat. Yeah. That's all that, and not too far from Sefton Park, and then you've got Smithdown. That's the student area, isn't it?
Yeah. You've basically got two main student areas. You've got Wavertree, Smithdown. Yeah. And you've got this bit which is close to town, which is like Kensington Fields. Yeah. And then how to word it? Kensington, which is a rougher area.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But Kenny Field's really nice.
And then in terms of, obviously, Liverpool's all Article 4. So was that part of the motivation for buying something existing?
Yeah, you've got to. Yeah. So I started in 2019, and then Article 4 hit in, I think it was 17th of June 21. Yeah. For the majority.
So you had like 18 months or 2 years.
Yeah. And I think that's impacted massively in terms of sort of properties that you can convert, because you now have to buy basically pre-existing HMOs where you can prove that prior to June 17th, 21 and going forward to today that they were let by 3 or more people continuously.
Before that, is that for the use class?
Yes, that's what it stays as C4. Yeah, stays as C4 use class. So I'm having an issue with one at the moment where a tenant's moved out. So I'm looking at the ASTs, I'm trying to get the certificate of lawfulness. Yeah. And it looks like, although a tenant signed the AST, they never occupied the house. So on the rent statements, there's only 2 of them in there.
Right, okay.
So now that's a contentious issue with the council saying, but then my planning consultant saying, but the intention was there.
Yeah, because the AST
so it's kind of grey.
In the detail.
It's a grey area. It's a really grey area. Yeah. It's also a grey area when it comes to if the house has been empty, say for a year because of COVID.
Right. Yeah. Students as well, in particular. Yeah.
And you didn't occupy the house. That should be okay.
Right. Okay.
It's if you then it's basically if you put a family in
back into it post COVID,
or 2 people.
Right.
Then you break the use class. It goes back to a C3
automatically.
Yes.
Right.
So I found that the further we're getting away from June 17th, 21, the more difficult it's becoming with these purchases to prove it. So you've got to have everything in order before you complete, really.
Right, okay. So have you, since Article 4 come in, have you taken anything, your standard 3-4 bed terrace, have you taken anything through full planning? Or have you just avoided it for the admin?
Avoided it.
Yeah.
I've had a 7-bed that on its 3rd attempt, I got the 7th bedroom. Right. That came through. Put apps in for 2 more 7 beds.
Yeah. Is that again same story? Where 6?
So no. So these are, one's a 6-bed, 6 en suite, but we can rejig the top floor
to get
another room. And then the other one is not far from here. That is a complete start from beginning.
Right. Like
it's a 3-bed like this. We're going to build the 7th bedroom. I'm going to get the certificate and then go for the 7th.
Right. So you're going to be taking that through full planning then?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Using the evidence of 65 Alderson.
Yeah, as precedent. Case law type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so those deals then, because this is something I always think about with Article 4, and it sort of puts me off a little bit, is how are you financing that then? Because obviously, planning, I just hear planning, I hear risk. And that's why so many people avoid Article 4 and do everything PD, because in theory, it's quicker. No risk.
You can still build it out as the 7 bed. You just need to check with building control about your insulation. See the regs change.
Soundproofing. And
it's like building flats. It's commercial. And then when you get to the refinance, you just refinance it as a 6-bed.
Okay.
Of course, you put a bit more money in to get the 7th. Yeah. But structurally, not a lot. You're only building a few more stud walls. Yeah. Obviously the insulation and stuff goes up, soundproofing, and then you refinance on a 6th, and then you just keep trying to get the 7th.
keep applying, right?
Yeah, yeah. And as long as you've got building regs for 7, and as long as you've got the app in for 7,
Yeah,
you can let the 7th room out.
You've sort of gone belt and braces from a bill point of view to say, listen, this is, you know, we're at 6, this is technically at 7. We want an okay to bridge the gap from you, essentially. Yeah,
yeah, and you know, on this new one I'm building, it will be 30 metres squared. Yeah. The head height will be over 1.7, so we'll meet all the requirements of the council. Yeah. So I think it'd be hard for them to refuse. Yeah,
and so you doing the 6 because Article 4 waives any PD, right?
Yeah.
Have you known them reject any 6 beds?
No, but I get the certificate before I do the work.
Do the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So me understanding the process from a like conveyancing and purchasing point of view.
Yeah.
Do you apply during conveyancing?
Yeah, can do. Yeah.
In parallel at the same time.
It all depends. It depends how good the vendor is at sending over the ASTs, maybe the council tax exemption forms, like everything you need. If he sends it over quick and we can get it in, sometimes you can get the certificate before we complete.
Right.
It's rare.
It's meant to be 8 weeks, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, in Liverpool, it could be 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it really depends.
I thought that specific one we were talking about then, that was a standard terrace, wasn't it? We were talking about, so you're taking that from C3 to C4 in Article 4. Yeah. And it's the same process from
No, they're all C4.
Oh, right, okay.
They're all C4, so they're all sort of 3-4 bed, small student HMOs. There's no way you can take a C3 to C4.
Right, I see. That's where I was confused. Yeah.
I get all C4.
Yeah, historic, it might have been 4 bed.
Yeah.
Right, I see. Okay. Yeah. Next floor above, what is it? It's just 3?
Yeah, so it'll be
3 rooms.
3, and we go up if you want, but it'll be 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And a bathroom kind of stacked
sort
above
of in
this
the
one.
middle, yeah.
And then same again, bathroom and 2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms in the top. And what terms of room sizes? What are you like averaging out?
9,
okay.
9.5, which is standard for like a student, but quite small for professional.
Professional, yeah, I was going to say. So some of ours are, I mean, even our ensuite rooms, I think they're maybe 12.
Yeah. You'll find student stuff, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's above 8, I don't think the student minds too much if you go below that.
Do you think they're going to change the tune on the room sizes anytime soon?
I hope not. So at the moment I think it's 6.521, is it?
Yeah, is that the minimum, is it?
Yeah. But I think the smallest I go to would be 8.5.
Yeah, it's small, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's small. With the sort of maybe, in places like Liverpool, the maybe more bougie city centre living type of thing, do you think any sort of like kitchenettes are going to come in for students in the rooms, or do you think it's just way off that? They want...
No, they're not bothered.
Communal area, cheap price point, location maybe is a big driver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're just, they're not bothered at all.
Not bothered.
No, I mean, they cook pasta and
pot noodles and beans on toast and takeaways.
And also I think with students, they want to be social.
Yeah.
So I think with professionals, you can kind of build like these self-contained 1-bed flats, kitchenettes, and you don't have to socialise.
Yeah. Go to work, go home.
Yeah, whereas with students, it's 6 of them, they're usually all mates.
Right.
That's why the communal area is so big.
Yeah.
Because they spend most of their time here, in the bedrooms, studying, sleeping, not really socialising.
Right. Okay. And then, so just me thinking about the life cycle of students in student HMOs. So typically first year people go to halls, and then do you find 2, 3 postgrad are all
2,
with
3,
you?
4. Yeah. That's who rent these.
Nice. Okay.
And they're typically rented from advertising October, November.
For the following year?
For the following 1st of July,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And they're usually all gone by Christmas, all the rooms are gone.
Right, yeah. Nice. So in terms of timeline for this bad boy, so we're in sort of end of May now?
Because we don't have to do the extension and because we don't have to do the dormer, this should fly now. This should be done in 3 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all internal stuff.
Yeah.
Stud work,
Yeah, so where are we now? June, July, August. Easy, it should be done for mid-August.
Nice, and do you think you'll get that full for the new academic year?
It's already let, yeah.
Oh, wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so everything that's sort of being planned to be built for this year was let last October.
Wow, in the pipeline, wow.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you try to let something now, you'll struggle.
Yeah. How do you find having sort of managing in-house? I know you said you got someone who does it for you. Does he just,
Fine.
has he got grey hair and eye bags?
No, it's fine. So I used to do everything up until last year when I hired Jack. So I used to have all the tenants on WhatsApp. We had loads of groups.
Yeah.
You get them phoning you at 1 a.m, moaning,
Locked out or whatever. Yeah.
all sorts.
Yeah.
So I think that's the worst thing, is them contact you at silly hours.
Yeah.
But we're relinquishing that to Jack. It's great.
It's great. Yeah.
And he's great.
Hands off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I imagine build team for yourself. It seems like you're sort of doing a lot of these. Have you got a good relationship with your builders?
Yeah. So Jake builds these for me. I think he's on this might be the 6th one.
Nice.
I've gone through a few builders in my time.
Yeah, kissed a few frogs.
Yeah. But yeah, Jake seems to be very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have any building control issues or anything on these projects?
No, we tend to use Quadrant.
Okay. You've just approved on ours, yeah.
And they've been fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I suppose with
issues.
No, because when I speak to a lot of people, it's when kitchenettes are going in rooms. That's when it can get a little bit.
Yeah, you put a microwave in and you put in no, none of that.
Yeah, so
and because they're rinse and repeat, typically Jake and I know exactly what building control want.
What they want,
Yeah.
And then, so typically, what would your starting square meterage be of a property? Have you got something that you're like, I can make this work at 85 square meters, or are you like 90? It's got to be. Or?
Yeah, I think these tend to be around, I'd say 40. So when you buy them, they're 40, and you put the extension on at 10, and then you go upstairs, you're at about 130.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But typically, once you've done a few, you know which roads are which.
Yeah.
So for example, if we're in Wavertree and you're on the bottom end of Alderson Road, they're massive houses. So if one comes up, you know straight away that's be an 8-bed. If you're on the other end of Alderson, you know it could be a 6-bed, 6 en suite. If you're on Woodcroft Road, it could be an 8-bed. So the more you get into it, you know which roads are which.
Yeah. And the
what can fit. It's usually the width. The wider the houses are, the more rooms you can get in.
Well, you must see a lot of this with doing the student HMOs. How do you think they interact with sort of like the community and different people?
I don't think the locals are a big fan of them.
Yeah. Do you think that's justified? Do you think it's unjustified?
I think, put it this way, if I was a resident and lived in the area and I got peppered with student HMOs, I'm not sure I'd be too happy. There were particular roads in Wavertree that got peppered a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think one road had about 30 or 40 on.
Wow.
I can see why they get really annoyed.
Yeah.
But then I'd also say, can you shift blame towards the council by not bringing an Article 4 quick enough? I think Nottingham had it years ago. 10 years ago, maybe, if not more.
Yeah, Nottingham's been a while. Yeah.
So they got hold of it, whereas Liverpool just let it get out of control.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you come to property like this, isn't it? And
yeah, we have an architect who will do the drawings, etc. However, once you're on site, I'll come down with the builder and we'll lay it out.
Yeah, and all changes.
Because you just don't know.
Yeah.
And neither does the architect, so you completely rip it out.
Yeah. And this one you were saying before, nothing major structural, no?
Not that I've heard of. No, it's all fine.
Typically, with your relationship with your builder now, you said he's done 6 for you.
Yeah.
How often will you be on site? Are you once every week, once every 2 weeks?
I guess it depends how bored I get at home.
You want to get
I don't need to be down here really.
Nice.
I'll do the stud work with him next week.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably come down once a week.
Yeah.
If I'm just driving by, I'll remember, swing by, say hi, see what's going on. But typically, no, I don't need to be here really.
Nice.
Maybe at the very end. So I sort of take control at the very end, and I have a flat pack team who come in and build everything. Yeah.
Nice.